Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We've got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be covering the Super Bowl 58, a statue unveiled in Kobe Bryant's honor, U.S. food that is banned in other countries, and make sure you stick around for later in the show when we'll be diving into the oddities of the day. Before we start, I'd like to ask that you like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. The tips and donation link is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Let's put your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also just really helps the show. Good morning / afternoon to you, Tate.
Hello, Miss Faith. How are you doing? See,
well.
I was listening to you do the rundown, and I'm like, crap, she's going to do it again. Yesterday, we started talking about Pop-Tarts and everything else. By the end, I was hungry. Now we're talking about foods banned and going to be talking about foods banned in other countries, which most of those foods that are banned in Europe, I can't get because I'm in Europe.
Yeah.
And I miss them.
Yeah. It's a long list too.
It's
so
crazy.
long.
It is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And you realize how unhealthy some of the food is in America. But I love it. Anyway, I'll let you keep going here.
All right, guys. Well, we have a guest today on our show. We have Mr. Nelson from the GSMC Basketball Podcast joining us today. How are you doing, Nelson?
I'm doing good. I mean, it's pretty early, so not exactly what I'm used to, but
it is very
adapted.
Early, yeah.
Mr. Nelson. Okay, first off, Nelson is the show host for the GSMC Basketball Podcast. Nelson's been kind of busy because the NBA trade deadline was going on. So you killed it. He absolutely killed it. He was staying on top of all the trades as we were coming in. So that had to be nerve-wracking. And then realizing that, hey, I got to get up early in the morning at the crack of dawn to do another show this morning. So I kind of dig that. So
grind don't stop. Doesn't stop.
Yeah, that's very true. Grind does not stop. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and dive into our first segment of the day, which has been the talk for the entire week. I'm sure everybody is probably tired of hearing about Super Bowl 58, as I am getting pretty tired of talking about Super Bowl 58.
I'm not.
I'm so fired up for this.
No, I'm
this
very
Super
excited.
Bowl.
I'm very excited to watch the game. I'm excited for the game. It's just, you run out of stuff to talk about when the game hasn't happened yet. So
I mean, the media doesn't stop talking about Taylor Swift, so you can just go that way.
See,
we've covered her a lot.
That's the thing that's weird about this Super Bowl is there is a different dynamic. Like, I've covered the Super Bowl working for other broadcast companies and other radio stations and things. But this year, there is an extra layer, which is the Taylor Swift effect, which is whether it's how much you love her, how much you hate her, how much you don't like the coverage. It's been very interesting. So very different. It has actually made me support Taylor Swift even more because I feel like she's been getting a lot of undue hate. So
I feel
that's been kind of my take as well.
I'm a little bit opposite towards that. Like, I'm sort of much more against Taylor Swift now. I'm not saying that I don't like her, and I'm saying that, like, because I do, but it's just like there's so much coverage with her right now, and like I just want to watch my football. Like, I know I'm the basketball show host, but like I love watching my football every Sunday, Thursday, Monday, whenever I can. But it's just like putting Taylor Swift on the camera every single time is just it's interfering. And it's odd.
All right, go ahead.
I'm not a big Taylor Swift fan when it comes to her music, but I support women in their grind era, and Taylor Swift is in her grind era right now. Also, it's been proven she's only been shown maybe 30 seconds during each game, so she really hasn't gotten a lot of coverage. So, but anyway.
Yeah, they've been. Yeah, all right, go ahead. And when you talk about the Taylor Swift grind, that kind of goes with the grind. When I think of the grind and people hard work at their craft, the first person comes to mind is Kobe Bryant. And I'm really excited about talking about Kobe in the next segment. So it made me think of that as you were bringing that in. Anyway, go ahead, Miss Faith. We didn't mean to jump ahead of you here.
Alrighty. The Chiefs and the 49ers are set for Super Bowl 54 rematch in Super Bowl 58, while Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes go for the overall repeat and another win over the same Super Bowl opponent. San Francisco will look to average a 31-20 loss from 4 seasons ago. Once again, the Chiefs will be the designated home team in Las Vegas on February 11th. They will also try to do what they couldn't in Super Bowl 55 when they lost their chance to become back-to-back NFL champions. There is one big change. Kansas City ended up as a 1.5-point favor over San Francisco in Super Bowl 54. This time, the 49ers open as a 2-point favorite with the over and under set for a point total of 48. Will the 49ers come through and cover that small spread, or will the Chiefs deny them for a second time in 5 Super Bowls?
Okay, I'm gonna go first, and then I'll bounce it back to Faith because Faith has to give her prediction, and then we're gonna round that. We're gonna stick the dismount with Nelson, and the key is Nelson has been the basketball host, so he hasn't had a chance to really go on air and actually talk about the Super Bowl. So this is his opportunity. This is his candy. It's his opportunity to actually talk about the Super Bowl, not this NBA trade deadline stuff, but the Super Bowl. Okay, Nelson, here's my take on this Super Bowl. First off, you have the 2 teams that at the beginning of the year, most people thought it was going to be at the beginning of the year, the Super Bowl was going to be Kansas City versus San Francisco. There was a couple of speed bumps in there where Kansas City's offense kind of took a little bit of a slide, and the receivers were dropping passes, and they looked more vulnerable than ever. But when the season ended and the smoke cleared, Kansas City was still there. No one's surprised that the 49ers are there. Now, I'm going to give you my take on how I see this going to go. I think this could be one of the best Super Bowls of all time. I think both teams have a great opportunity here. But I start looking at it and I say, and it has nothing to do with Patrick Mahomes. I say, you're going to give Andy Reid 2 weeks to prepare. That's dangerous. Number 2, I look at that defense. The Kansas City defense is just absolutely stellar, and they're peaking at the right time. They finished the season on a tear where they were super strong, rolled into the playoffs, looked almost unstoppable, and then rolled and now into the Super Bowl. But when I look at the 49ers have been quite a solid team all year. And the reason why I'm taking Kansas City is in these playoffs, I kind of feel like the 49ers have started these games kind of flat, where they let Green Bay come out, hit them in the mouth. They let Detroit come in, hit them in the mouth, and then they had to recover and come back down the stretch and win these games.
There was a lot of fluky stuff that ended up happening in those games too. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Oh, no. I absolutely. But part of being a great team is that luck and that flukiness. And I'm going to turn it over to you. But I see it this way. If the 49ers come in and they start off slow and they allow Kansas City to get a lead, that defense isn't going to give it back. Nor do I see Patrick Mahomes giving it away. So that's why I'm kind of leaning toward Kansas City, and I'm taking Kansas City in a close win. Faith has it razor thin. I'm going to toss it back to Faith. We're like I said, you're sticking to dismount. Faith, give them your take on what you were saying.
Like Tate was saying, how the 49ers played with Green Bay and the Lions. I just don't really see the 49ers winning this year. Also, I'm still a little salty about the Lions losing to the 49ers, so I don't want to root for the 49ers.
Wait. I apologize about cutting you off.
Yeah.
Faith was convinced the
I
Lions
was.
were going to the Super Bowl.
I was
The
so
Lions.
No way.
And
No way.
I was honestly, even with a minute left in that game, I was like, there's a small chance. There's a very small chance that they could pull through, and then it didn't happen, and I was very, very
In
upset.
Jared Goff, we trust.
So
Listen, she was drinking that Kool-Aid. She had her pinky out. She was drinking the Kool-Aid strong that the Lions were going to get there.
No, because they were doing so
They
well.
were. They were killing it.
And it just seems like from watching them, the 49ers play with the Packers and then watching them play with the Lions, it's just kind of like they don't really do anything. And then, after halftime, it's like, oh, well, we got to catch up now. And, so they do that. So if they're going to play the way they've been playing with the Packers and the Lions, I don't see anything happening because the Kansas City Chiefs defense is just phenomenal. I mean, watching them play with the Ravens, that was a game. Watching them play with the Ravens, because you could tell by like third quarter, both defenses were absolutely exhausted, and I honestly thought the score was going to be a lot higher than what it was for that game. So, like Tate said, if the 49ers play the way they played the past two games, the Chiefs are just not going to let them come back afterwards. So.
All right, Mr. Nelson. You've been waiting to talk about that about football. Let's hear your take on it.
Yeah, it's the first time I get to talk about football since, I do the basketball podcast. So again, like I have faith in Patrick Mahomes, and like I just think he's the much better quarterback compared to Brock Purdy. So I'm going to go with him in the end of the day. Because when the going gets tough and like when you need something, like he's going to be there and he's going to provide for the team. And the defense this year, like he doesn't have to worry about it as much as he had to worry about previous years. How like most of the time when he won the Super Bowl and when he made it far, his defenses were usually lacking sometimes, and it was up to him to like win the game in the end. And so because of that, and because like now that there's actual defense, I think that relieves pressure from Mahomes and relieves pressure from Kelsey. But at the same time, they shouldn't like go into this game thinking like, oh, we're the Chiefs, we're going to win this easily, because I mean, Christian McCaffrey just won Offensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. So I think he's actually going to open up the game scoring. I think he's going to open up the game with a rushing touchdown. But the game's going to be very competitive. But I still got the Chiefs going in.
Now, here's a question that I have. The 49ers, they have weapons everywhere. Do you think, number one, that they can get out to an early lead on the Chiefs? Or do you think they're going to kind of repeat what they did the last two games where they're going to start slow? Because if they start slow, I don't see how they can win this game. What do you say about how the game's going to start? Because I think that's the key.
They're definitely going to open up with a McCaffrey touchdown. They almost always end up with a McCaffrey touchdown. So it's really tough because like the Chiefs defense is really good, but at the same time, the Niners offense is also really good. So, but given how Brock Purdy's their quarterback, I am not a big Brock Purdy fan. So I think maybe they're going to start out a little bit slow given how good the Chiefs defense is. And then that'll allow the Chiefs to take the lead early on in the game. And at that point, it's just about holding the lead if you're the Chiefs.
Okay. Now, I'm going to say this. The 49ers are no slouch. And when you look at the 49ers have this team that has weapons everywhere and an incredibly balanced team. They're not going to make the same mistakes that, let's say, the Ravens did, which was to abandon the run, only having 6 runs. I think it was in the first half, but barely running. The 49ers and Shanahan, that zone running scheme is the best in the NFL. And that's where, if there's going to be a weakness on that Kansas City defense, it's going to be the run stopping. The 49ers will be able to run on the Kansas City Chiefs, But if they can really run and Christian McCaffrey starts going off, it could be a long day for the Chiefs. Do you
Hold on,
agree with
McCaffrey
that,
can
Faith?
really run.
Yes. Do you agree
McCaffrey
with
can
that as
really
well?
run.
Yes, he can.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I feel like, if the 49ers do what they're supposed to do and haven't been doing what they've been doing, I feel like they could give the Chiefs a run for their money. But Patrick Mahomes is just really, really good.
Patrick Mahomes does Patrick Mahomes thing.
He's gonna be the greatest. He is, mark my words, he is going to be marked as the greatest quarterback when his career is over.
That's another conversation we can have at another day, because I agree he's on the way. You were saying about the fact that you're not a Brock Purdy fan. I look at Brock Purdy as an incredibly competent quarterback. I'm not saying that he's not a great quarterback. I mean, I think he is definitely super competent. But I think if Brock Purdy gets confidence, he will carve you up and it will be an ugly day. But you can put pressure on Brock Purdy and you can shake him. And if he gets shook, he will turn the ball over. How do you feel about that? Okay, go ahead.
I feel Brock Purdy just needs a few years and he'll be a lot better
Oh,
than
yes.
he is now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was an MVP candidate. Now I think I could see him only getting better.
Mm-hmm.
But in this game, Nelson, do you think that Kansas City's defense can actually put pressure on him and make him make mistakes? How do you see it with Brock Purdy? I know you were saying you're not a big fan, so I wanted you to elaborate a little bit on that as well.
Well, with their defensive line, like San Fran's defensive line, I'm not entirely sure if like they'll be able to get pressure, but the Chiefs' defensive line is actually really good. So maybe they can, maybe they can't. It's really difficult to tell. But given how you wanted me to like elaborate more on like why I'm not a Brock Purdy. So
not necessarily about why you're not a Brock Purdy fan, but about do you see this game? Kind of looking into your crystal ball here, do you see Kansas City being able to put pressure on Brock Purdy? And if that pressure is there, do you think Brock Purdy will make these mistakes? Because that's the key to the game. I think it's an even game, except for more likely I could see Brock Purdy making a mistake. How do you see it?
Yeah, like the game probably is going to come down to like Brock Purdy making the right decisions, making the right reads, and like exactly like what plays he's going to make and what he's going to run with. Because like I feel like in this game they're going to rely on McCaffrey a lot more than they're going to rely on Brock Purdy. I feel it because like again, I just don't trust Brock Purdy. The offense that he has is just too good to fail. So like put any quarterback in that system and they're going to do the same thing. Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback at one point, and he took the San Fran to the Super Bowl as well. So, like,
I definitely think there's a certain type of quarterback that would do incredibly well in that San Francisco offense, and having that zone runs will really makes life easier. I'm not going to go as far as say any quarterback can. But there is definitely a lot more quarterbacks can do a lot better in that system than, let's say, some other systems.
The offense is just too good to fail. Like, just look at all the stars that they have.
They're loaded in all the right ways.
Exactly.
I do agree with you on that one.
Most of the time, like he doesn't even have to like. We talked about the Lions game. The game was over the second I saw that fluky catch from Brandon Ayuk that should have been an interception. Like, yes. That was the most ridiculous catch I've ever seen. And it's like, Brock should have thrown an interception, but no, that's like a 50-yard reception, and it sets them up for a touchdown, and the Lions couldn't recover after that.
But here's something. Good teams don't make mistakes, but great teams get lucky. Mm-hmm. And that is the way it is. And sometimes, I mean, if they go through and they win this, part of that path is going to be some of those lucky plays. And I know that kind of stings when you see, but great teams get lucky sometimes as well. Faith has given her prediction. She predicts it's going to be a close game, about a field goal difference. Mm-hmm. I had it about a 10 the 12-point difference with Kansas City. Give me a score for the game, Nelson.
Score for the game. Okay, that's going to be tough. I think the game's going to end 20-17. The Chiefs. They're going to win by a field goal.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So you got it as a low-scoring game.
Given with how that the Chiefs have been playing recently, like in this postseason, they have not been very well. They have not been very good offensively. Is Kadarius Toney playing in this Super Bowl?
No, I don't. You know what? That is a great question. I don't know. Right now, I don't think he's going to, but I'm not sure.
All right. So if he's in the lineup, then the Chiefs are losing. As a Giants fan, if he's in the lineup, the Chiefs are losing. But if he's not in the lineup, then 2017. If he is,
okay,
it's going to be 7:35.
Okay, and then I'm going to end this segment on my crazy prop bet with Faith that the halftime show is going to be going. Usher's going to be killing it, and then come out of the floor, Taylor Swift. It's going to be a Taylor Swift. Usher
Tate is
song.
very adamant on the fact that Taylor Swift is going to show up on the halftime show. I told him it's
that's going to happen.
I'm scared if that does happen.
That's my ultimate prop bet right there. So, all right.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about a Kobe Bryant statue that was unveiled outside the Crypto.com arena.